Settle into a comfortable position, letting your body ease into stillness. Noticing how the surface beneath you offers steady support. A reminder that you do not need to hold yourself up. Everything around you can carry the weight now. And as you feel that quiet stability, take a slow breath in and a softer breath out, letting the day's activities soften like distant echoes fading into the evening, leaving only calmness behind. The room may feel touched by lamplight or by the hush of night air, a quiet corner where nothing is expected, nothing is required. And time seems to slow to the rhythm of your breath. You are safe here with the simple comfort of stillness, with the slow drift of your thoughts untangling like threads, gently unwinding. In this calm, there is space for a soft story, one that lingers rather than rushes, one that belongs to the quiet edges of the night. Tonight, the story rests with an old tree, a tree that whispers forgotten stories, a tree whose branches sway as if they carry gentle memories, offered not loudly, but like a murmur in the wind. You can imagine its trunk rooted deep in the earth, its branches stretching wide into the cool air, the leaves shifting just enough to let you notice the rhythm of their song. The stories are not meant to stir excitement. They are meant to be a background hum, like soft waves upon a shore, like crickets far in the meadow, always steady, always calm. As we begin to listen together, know this truth: everything is steady tonight. With that reminder, you can let yourself rest deeper, trusting that the story will move at its own slow pace, giving you permission to release into ease, carried by the hush of words and the shelter of calm. In this quiet place, we can begin to notice the tree more fully, not rushing toward meaning, but pausing with each image as though it were a lantern placed along a gentle path, each one shining with a soft and steady glow. The tree stands in a clearing touched by moonlight, its bark cool to the touch, its leaves faintly moving in the night air, and its roots stretching into soil that has been undisturbed for centuries, offering a reminder of endurance without effort, of presence without demand. Around the tree, the air feels calm, carrying the scent of earth, a faint sweetness of grass, and the freshness that follows rain, all combining into a quiet atmosphere where the mind naturally slows. If you listen closely, you can imagine the stories it carries, not as spoken words, but as impressions, as memories that drift lightly, like the soft brush of wind against your cheek. These stories are not sharp or detailed. They are softened with time, fading edges, gentle outlines that bring comfort rather than weight. One might be a memory of children once playing at the tree's base, their laughter now only a faint echo in the rustle of leaves, or perhaps a remembrance of animals resting in its shade, their movements blending with the rhythms of daylight and dusk. As each story passes, it does not demand attention. It simply drifts, much like clouds moving slowly across a wide sky. You can imagine sitting beneath the branches, leaning back against the trunk, feeling the cool texture of the bark, noticing how the ground cradles you easily, how the night expands around you without edges. The whispers of the tree seem to weave with your own thoughts, turning them soft, turning them slow, until they are little more than a haze of impressions floating by. In the hush of this space, you might picture the tree's leaves shimmering faintly, their subtle movements like a lullaby, not sung, but carried in rhythm. Everything is steady tonight. This steadiness carries through the tree's stories, through its quiet way of remembering, through its offering of a place where nothing needs to be fixed or solved, a place where presence itself is enough. As the stories blend with the sound of your breath, the quiet expands, and you may feel a sense of being gently held, as though the tree itself is keeping watch with patience, with stillness, with care. With each pause, the sense of calm grows wider, and the night becomes a blanket of peace, inviting you to drift a little deeper into ease, knowing that the whispers will continue softly in the background, steady and unchanging, like the tree itself. The tree that whispers forgotten stories does not press its tails forward. It allows them to float gently, repeating their presence the way waves repeat upon a shore, the way lamplight glows without needing to brighten or dim. And as you imagine this rhythm, you can sense the calm weight of time itself settling into your body, giving each breath the slow measure of quiet endurance. The core idea is simple and soft, that the tree holds and releases gentle memories, never rushing, never demanding, only offering what is needed for stillness. And through that offering, your mind finds its own gentle drift. Picture once more the trunk, strong yet calm, bark cool beneath your hand. Its ridges, like the lines of a book, left open beneath the stars. Each groove a page. Each page a story that no longer needs to be told loudly, only whispered. Around the base, the roots extend deeply, stretching outward into soil that feels damp, dark, and endlessly steady, reminding you that you too are supported, held in place with care you do not need to manage. Above, the branches spread with a quiet generosity, leaves shimmering faintly in night air that is cool against the skin, their whispers forming a chorus of stories, not sharp, not exact, only gentle in tone, as though the night itself were speaking in soft rhythm. In this cycle of noticing the tree, of remembering its quiet presence, you allow your own thoughts to settle into the same pace. And each time you return to the image, you sink deeper into ease. Everything is steady tonight. Now the stories seem to echo across time, perhaps a tale of rain falling long ago, drops striking the leaves in patterns that sounded like music, or perhaps a season when snow rested gently on each branch. The world hushed and still, the tree bearing the weight with grace. You can feel how these memories are not bound to urgency, not bound to detail. They drift like cool mist across a meadow. And when you breathe with them, you let go of the day's sharpness, you let go of edges. Again, we notice the trunk, again the branches, again the roots. Each element circling back into awareness, each repetition a way of deepening calm. Imagine the tree in daylight, sunlight moving slowly across its surface, shadows shifting on the ground, birds pausing briefly on its branches before moving on, leaving behind only the faintest trace of song, and then return to night, where the same tree continues to stand, whispering in darkness. This cycle continues, always soft, always patient, allowing each return to be easier than the last. Everything is steady tonight. The whispers may be like the sound of distant water, like the hum of bees far in a summer field, like the sigh of wind across a quiet hilltop. And each comparison helps the mind drift further, letting you settle into the rhythm of repetition. The tree is both ancient and immediate, both distant and near, a presence that does not change yet, feels alive with gentle motion, a paradox that does not need solving, only noticing. As you linger with these impressions, the breath comes slower, the thoughts come quieter, and the edges of time blur into the haze of night, where the stories drift without beginning or end. The tree offers itself again, branches stretching, leaves whispering, roots grounding, trunk standing, and each time you picture it, the sense of calm grows more complete, more steady, more ready to carry you deeper into rest. Everything is steady tonight. This pattern of return is the heart of the story, this slow circling of presence and memory, this ongoing offering that does not need to end, only to continue in rhythm, to repeat like the soft sway of leaves in the night air, to lull like the tide, to cradle like a blanket of soundless night. The tree continues to stand in its clearing, patient and unmoving, whispering forgotten stories that weave softly through the air. And as we linger with it, the calm only deepens, not through new revelations, but through the gentle layering of the same familiar rhythm, the steady repetition that allows the mind to loosen and rest. Its stories are like threads woven into a fabric, each one subtle, each one blending into the others, creating a tapestry that does not need to be seen in full to be felt. a quiet pattern of comfort and memory that wraps around you like a blanket. When the tree whispers, the sound feels like wind through tall grass, or like water flowing over smooth stones, or like distant chimes moved by the faintest breeze. And each image softens the edges of thought. Each image steadies the breath. Everything is steady tonight. We may think of how the tree has watched over countless evenings, branches swaying beneath moons of many shapes, roots drinking deeply from rains that fell long before this moment, leaves greeting the warmth of mornings, now forgotten. Each season, a story folded gently into its being. These stories do not carry sharp detail. They are softened like paper worn smooth by time, like voices heard through walls, blurred but still present, carrying only their calm tone. If we wish to describe the presence of the tree, we might say it holds 5 simple gifts. Gifts that are steady, quiet, and always available. The first gift is shelter, a canopy of leaves that shades and shields, offering a place of ease beneath its branches. The second gift is memory, carried in the bark, in the roots, in the rings unseen but always there, reminders of years that have come and gone without urgency. The third gift is rhythm, the sway of branches in the wind, the return of seasons, the ongoing cycle that repeats gently and endlessly. The fourth gift is silence, not the absence of sound, but the kind of hush that lets whispers be heard, that lets the smallest details linger without distraction. The fifth gift is steadiness, the unchanging presence of a trunk that remains rooted while all else moves. A presence that reassures simply by existing. Everything is steady tonight. With these gifts in mind, the tree becomes more than a figure in the clearing. It becomes a rhythm within your own body. Its steadiness mirrored in your breath, its silence mirrored in your quieting thoughts. Each time you picture the bark cool and rough beneath your hand, you return to this rhythm. Each time you see the leaves shifting, you return again. Each time you imagine the roots beneath the soil, you return once more. And each return deepens the calm, the way a lullaby deepens with each repeated verse, the way soft waves lull with their repeated motion. The whispers continue, always gentle, always faint, but always present, like background tones that never fade. Everything is steady tonight. The longer you remain with the tree, the more you notice that the stories are less about events and more about feelings, less about what happened and more about how time itself has passed, slowly, softly, without end. It is this passage that lulls, this reminder that time moves with or without our notice, that seasons change without needing to be guided, that the world continues with a patience that eases the mind. The tree is an emblem of this patience, and in its presence, you too can rest without needing to act, without needing to hold on, without needing to reach. Its stories become your stories, not in detail, but in tone, not in content, but in calm, until the whispers feel like your own breath, steady and soft, carrying you deeper into night. The night draws closer around the tree, and in this closing space, the whispers soften further, becoming less like words and more like a steady hush. The kind of hush that fills a quiet room lit only by lamplight. The kind of hush that eases the body into stillness. The tree remains patient and grounded, its trunk cool and solid, its branches gently swaying, its roots deep in the earth, and its leaves carrying those forgotten stories with no need for urgency or weight. As we spiral back through what has been shared, we see that the whispers are simply a rhythm, a reminder of presence, way of steadying the mind so it can drift like a leaf on calm water. The stories never pressed to be remembered in detail. They only asked to be noticed for their tone, their cadence, their gentle way of saying that time can move slowly and that rest can come easily. Everything is steady tonight. You may recall the gifts of the tree: shelter, memory, rhythm, silence, and steadiness. Each one continuing to linger like faint stars overhead, each one adding to the sense of being gently held. Picture once more the bark against your hand, the leaves moving in the cool air, the roots spreading quietly beneath the soil. And let these images dissolve into a blur, the way outlines fade in the dimness of night. With every cycle, the words grow softer, the images lighter, until they are little more than impressions, like echoes drifting further away, leaving only the comfort of stillness. Everything is steady tonight. As the whispers fade into the background, you are left with a wide calm, a quiet spaciousness that asks nothing, requires nothing, only holds you with ease. Let the hush of the tree, the softness of the night, the steadiness of its presence carry you now, the way a tide carries a boat, the way a lullaby carries a child, slowly and without effort, into rest. The tree remains in its clearing, but its whisper has become silence. And in that silence, the night closes gently, leaving only calm, only peace, only sleep. Good night.